Over the past 2 weeks, these changes have continued to take place because I noticed that you have changed.
Yes.
I can even see that, in the past 2 weeks.
Yes,
I can see a change.
Yes.
I can see in 2 weeks. I see a change. What are the principal changes that you see taking place in yourself now, in the past 2 weeks?
Externally, as I told you the other day, the very texture of the skin has changed. It has become very soft like silk, even butter-like touch about this.
Oh, yes, I should say. Feel that. Very soft and smooth.
And before this actually happened, she told me she observed something.
It was, you see, it was not flat, it was like, to me, the thing like this.
Oh, the skin became heavy.
The swollen, there was so hard.
Before?
It was not rough.
In between.
Oh, in between.
In between.
In between, perhaps during the few days, I don't know, 1 week or so, I don't notice it. It was hard.
Hard.
Hard, and just like that, here and down, up and down, up and down. I don't know what it was.
Wavy, wavy.
Wavy and hard. So everybody was here. During the first days, yes, it was very blown up, you see. It was wavy. Really. And then suddenly, it became soft, and then it was again, it is soft, it is softer. If I do not, when I just see it is softer. If I just softer than when it was here.
I noticed it only when my razor slipped one day.
Yes.
So what is this? It has suddenly become so soft. That put me on this test of what's happening to this, and my razor suddenly slipped.
When your razor slipped down the side of the skin.
Just like on a very soft surface.
Yeah.
So I noticed this. And the second thing, I use reading glasses. And now suddenly I don't need any reading glasses.
Oh, you don't need glasses to read?
Just like that, it's overnight. I can't use them because they give me pain.
Well.
That is number 2. Number 3, the eyelids still don't blink at all. Most of the time. Only when I feel the pain, I close them.
Yes.
Otherwise, they stay like that. They don't blink at all. And sometimes, and very often times, the eyeballs get fixed, as I told you, and they last for hours and hours and hours and hours. Like the eyeballs of a dead person.
You mean they don't move?
They don't move at all.
Just stare straight ahead?
Just stay ahead. And that happens only when there is this peculiar kind of intensity, when I listen to something, when I look at whatever is called the most beautiful thing. These are the external noticeable changes.
So in that condition, if you want to look over here, you have to turn the whole body.
On the whole body like that.
The eyeballs don't turn.
Eyeballs don't turn. I have to turn like this. So not that I pay any special attention. In order to look this side, I must turn the whole body.
Yes.
The eyes don't move at all.
You see, I've seen Krishnamurti do that. There must be some normal procedure in this state. Because it was also said that the Buddha had to do the same thing. They said that one of the 32 marks, or 16 marks of the Buddha, one is that something has happened to the spine, it's fused. And that's the way they interpret it. It's fused. So he can't turn his head, he has to turn the whole body like that. Yes.
That's going to happen to me also because the spinal column here, the energy flows, it's not all nonsense, the Kundalini, the yoga system they talk of. The energy starts from here. It runs from this spinal column. And see, I asked her to watch when this tells me my body is obviously not in a fit condition to receive this energy, the tremendous movement, And so it has to do some jerking like that. Which I thought I wasn't some kind of an epileptic fit. No, nothing. You see, the whole body becomes very stiff. You hear all these things, they expand like that.
Like expand?
Yes, expands like that. Enormously it becomes. Like an athlete, you see, not you do anything about it, but it's automatically in that state, particularly in that state.
And without it, it's not anything for that. It comes from inside.
See, that's what they say, the snake.
It comes from here.
You know, the snake, they say, the serpent power. They refer to that. I'm not comparing this. I'm wondering what is how this business is. All of a sudden, the serpent rises like that, you know, and then it goes down. And then complete circle and poof, the air goes out. You know, this is in a rubber snake. If you blow in air, it rises, and the moment the air is out, it falls down like that. It goes on, off and on and on and on again, back again, something like this. This flow goes there, and then it falls down, and again it starts again. Why and how long it could go on? I would cycles like that. It is always the spinal column.
From way down at the base.
So even if I'm sitting like this, all of a sudden with a big jerk, it comes to a firm position. So that's why I say I don't like to lie down. Suddenly I get up and sit in cross leg. Then it becomes very easy. Otherwise, if I lie down, the whole body begins to vibrate.
Painful?
Not painful, no. 4 kilos, I have never through this. It's between 3 and 4. So for 30 years, this is how it is maintained. And that is one thing.
They were also his cushions more. Now you can see how
All the bones are coming out. Oh my God. And I have become very delicate. Delicate like this, very delicate. You see, the whole, I used to be very strong and tough and weakness, I don't feel any more weakness. This energy is enough. These are the external changes, and the taste is the same. Now I have gotten used to this. This is the only thing now I know. The bewildering stage is gone. I am not anymore bewildered. Why is this so? I don't even care to recall the name of the flower. This is useless. In the earlier stages, everything bewildered me. And now there is no point in asking what this flower is. Is that a car? Is that a telepheric? Is that this woman? Is that this one? These questions have completely disappeared. And this is the mind. The questioner is the mind. You see, I didn't realize why and where from these questions spring up. So the more life you give to the mind, the more questioning it continues. So I have suddenly discovered that this is a useless thing. Why am I questioning all this? All right, the bewildering stage is over, and then so the chap has become very quiet. He's not there most of the time. From morning till evening, you don't even know that you are not questioning anything unless somebody asks me a question, then there is an answer. If nobody asks any question, then there is nothing there. There is nothing there to question. So this has become a very natural way of living, and I am beginning to feel that there is no other way. This seems to be the only way to me, and this seems to be the only way that people should live. You know, not that I know how you are living, or this person is living, or somebody else is living. This is the only way. This is a marvelous way to live, not compared to the previous way of living. And every day, this is something. The learning is a marvelous thing. What I say today, it will be completely. It may sound very contradictory to one who listens. There seems to be a lot of contradictions in what I said and what I say today. But because this is the only thing at this moment I know. Yesterday I was thinking in terms of 3 levels of consciousness. I was talking exactly in terms of 3 levels of consciousness. One is the awareness most of the time I am in. I feel hungry, I eat, and this seems to be exactly the same way I lived before. Most of the time I'm arguing and explaining. Sometimes there is intensity in my words, but there is nobody behind. That I know. And the second stage is, the second level of consciousness is these intermittent states of this tremendous tension. I call it tension. It's the intensity of the body.
That's the cooling right?
No, that is not yet. You see, this, suddenly the eyeballs fixed, and for hours and hours, the whole panorama, the thoughts never enter in that state. Never. There isn't a chance of thought entering in that state into your mind, into your being. Not a chance. Now, if I stop talking and sit here, there is a chance of thought entering. But at that, in that that day sometimes lasts 6 hours, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 3 hours, sometimes half an hour. And why it happens, it depends upon a particular situation at that particular moment. Whom I am talking to and what I am looking at, what I am listening to, it depends upon these things. And the third is this state of death. It's every day it seems to be a daily happening. But what I don't know yet is this the way one sleeps. You see, how does sleep visit? How does one go to sleep? No dreams and so far. How does one go to sleep? Perhaps that is the way, you see, the sleep comes on. I really don't know. But if that is the way, why would I get up after 1 hour and there is this awareness of this state? Or what they call the yoga nidra, you are half awake and half asleep. But there is something of an awareness, and then that disappears, and after 1 hour you wake up. What is this? I really don't know.
You don't know yet.
Well, how does one fall asleep? Not that I am questioning myself. Yesterday this happened, I thought it was some kind of a peculiar state of nirvikalpa samadhi or whatever you call it. There is no awareness even in that state. In sleep also we don't have any awareness. We are in deep sleep. But why does it last only for half an hour or 45 minutes? If it is a sleep, that I am questioning now. One day it lasted for 1 hour, another day it lasted for 2 hours, another day it lasted for 45 minutes. I come out tremendously exhilarated, if I may use that word. And what are these? I thought there were 3. Yesterday I was talking in terms of today. When I woke up, I discovered something new. Not discovered, I seem to have. But tomorrow perhaps it will be something different because I don't remember what I said yesterday or what I said like. Today there seems to be one state. All the time there is this silence there. So the mind is not functioning. There is this silence. There is nothing there happening. All of a sudden something outside puts me into that state. This state of intensity, the great silence. The mind is silent, quiet most of the time. And when this happens, now the thoughts can enter. You just become aware of the thoughts and they go away. They just don't stay, they just walk through. In the early hours of the morning or sometimes before I go to sleep, sometimes in between. I used to sleep for 12 full hours before. Now I sleep only 6 hours. And then I wake up for 2 hours. In that time, you see, this is going on in between too. Then I fall asleep and wake up at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So this seems to be happening every day now. See, this is kind of I think going into this state of not even awareness, which seems to be different from the body completely and totally disappears. Everything disappears. Now I'm an awareness of the body, but the body is not there for me. The body disappeared one day and that was the end. I'm not aware. When I look at it, this body is just like your body. There's not much difference between looking at your body or looking at my body. It is an object. You see, when I close my eyes, I become aware of the body only where here. It is resting here, it is resting here, and this leg over this point, and the rest of the body is not there in my awareness. So the awareness is only the points where this body touches, the soft or hard surface, that's all. I can't visualize the totality. I hold his hand and close my eyes. I see only this portion, only whatever I touch. I can't visualize the complete image of this. I open my eyes, I see him. So when I close my eyes, this is the only, my touch is all that can make me aware of this hand only. This hand is, by touch I know that this is a hand, by like a blind man. So I can't visualize the whole body that this is a hand, let alone his hand. My hand, this is all that exists for me at this moment. The rest of it doesn't exist. So that's the awareness, what you call this awareness. I'm aware of what is happening outside, and outside the awareness is not in operation, the awareness of inside. See this, I'm not aware of what is going on inside because I'm aware of the external things around. When I lie down on my bed, the listening is the only thing. I close my eyes, and so I become aware of the inside. So there is no problem. I can lie down for the rest of my life listening to this love dub. Oh, yesterday you listened. How long are you going to listen to this? Question is not there for me. this loved up business, it has reduced the whole human being into this awareness of your loved up. Every night when I am awake, this loved up and breathing. And I thought that the air was leaking sometimes. It's not actually, but you learn about your anatomy also. I forgot all about it, what I studied about physiology and all that. And this seems to be the waking. And the other thing, why this happens, I don't yet know. I don't want to use these states of samadhi and all this that has no meaning. And how every time it happens in a different way.
This disappearance.
This disappearance, every time is this complete disappearance of awareness, I would put it there. Even this disappearance that is there for all practical purposes. This awareness of breathing also is gone. Gone. And so what is it that is aware of that at that time? I don't know. Perhaps some pure consciousness operating.
Was there really something aware? Do you think?
No, nothing was aware. There was no
complete darkness?
Complete disappearance. There was, before you see this, there is a total complete darkness, utter darkness, that's all. And even that darkness bursts forth into some kind of light and the whole body is gone. Not that, I thought whether this is the light from outside or why this light or what, this pain of these eyelids or what. Suddenly some kind of a flash of light comes and then the whole thing disappears. This is not vision. I am always very skeptical of this. What it is, because I can't compare. What is this? I can't rush open somebody else's book and find out, and that has no meaning.
Yeah.
So I have to discover myself. So this discovery is a moment-to-moment business. So tonight what will happen, I don't know. I can't bring that by any means into being. I can't by looking at the flower, you see. For hours and hours, put my eyes in a state of attention, I can't do it. So the mind could do it before. There's attention, total attention. Something else puts me in attention. If you talk something, however trivial it may be, however marvelous, profound, even a small thing, why it happens, I really don't know. I really don't know. Yesterday when he was describing something, it was a marvelous thing for me, and then I just disappeared in that moment.
Who was describing?
He was describing something about how Krishnamurti walked in Benares and his cycle race, and all that. It's like a boy who listens to the stories. If he narrated a story to a little boy, he would pay all the attention. He would want to know more and more and more about the same man whom you have known all your life. Every detail of it. So when it comes from this man, it is a new thing to you. So you listen with all the interest. There is a total attention, and that attention puts you into this state. And what is that state? The whole body becomes nothing spiritual. I don't know. Yes, yesterday. Yesterday for a few minutes. Then it continued and on, and they went away. You see, I had to walk like it is a walking car. You know. Why one walks, I don't know.
The disappearance state came? Or the
disappearance state came and came back, and then you see, it never left me. You see, then I started to partake the discussion, conversation, in spite of myself, and then you see, when they left, you see, again it reverted back to the experience. So I think I should not continue these walks when it is there. I must sit somewhere or do something. You see, because otherwise the body is moving. It is interesting in its own way. The eye is looking at the whole. That's all the changes. But I'm picking up some energy, and now you see, I don't feel the weakness at all. My voice also is coming back.
I also change the voice. Well, the three states you described, where does this energy, this cycle of energy come in?
Yesterday I thought in terms of three levels.
Yes.
Today I only know of two. Only one, sometimes in that state of intensity, and most of the time in a state of quietude. It is a serene, for want of more appropriate words, it is serene, tranquility, peace, because the mind is not there. Mind is sitting there somewhere in the background. When thoughts come, if you want to do something about it, it comes here. If you want to know something about the bhakti, why should I ask the same question again and again? It's better the mind is left alone there. The more I drag the chap, he wants to linger there for a longer time because he's used to this ruling this house of his. He is too anxious to help you. He is too anxious to be of great service to you because he comes into there and into being and sits there. That's the funniest part. Otherwise, every time I ask what is that bird, is it a sparrow? He is there. He comes there and he loves to live there, and he wants to give you a lot of information about all these things. So if you ignore that fellow, not that you can ignore, when once this thought comes, it's like an electron, your awareness is disturbed, and it's gone, and again the door is closed for the mind. The mind cannot come there. The mind is there. The mind has not disappeared. He is there in the background, available to you as a servant, not as a master. This seems to be the difference. You can order, use the encyclopedic knowledge it has acquired, and all this is there available for the use of it if there is a use. If there is no use, not for self-aggrandizement, not for self-fulfillment, not pushing yourself to the front, or not using this, you see, to be somebody or to do something about it, nothing. If you don't use it, you don't use it. It's all there it is.
But his nature has changed.
His nature has changed.
Because before he could produce concepts.
Concepts, yes, because he can't produce.
Now he can lose the ability to run a serpent.
He's a dictionary.
He cannot produce.
He's a dictionary and he gives more meanings. It's like a dictionary. Not images, no pictures. Not a pictorial dictionary, but just a pure and simple dictionary giving more words, more words. The dictionary also gives the structure of sentences. It is all that is there for your use if you want. It is sharp, it is logical, it is everything. It is persuasive in its own way, or not to win your argument, win the argument, or to persuade somebody to do something, none of these things. Because the persuasive skill is there all the time available, not to be used for some kind of a self-fulfillment, but it acquired all this space through years. It seems to be there available. The mind is still there, not as a master, but as a servant.
And you're sort of feeling that he likes to.
Oh, he likes to be there. I know. I have noticed several times. He wants to stay there, linger as long as possible. As long as possible. He just wants to usurp his, again take his throne there and dictate. Since you are not afraid, if you are not afraid of losing what you have, so you see, the fear is not there. It is there. You watch him lingering around. He is still. You can't push him out. He pushes himself out. I did not push him. All my efforts didn't help me to push that fellow out. And so I can't push him out again. You are aware, just like you are aware of the flower. When this thought is there, this is gone. Although the eyes are looking, the thoughts have created the break in this awareness of things around. The clarity is gone. The energy is being used by these intruders there. The energy, there is a break in the flow of the energy around. So you become aware of all these things only because the awareness is disturbed. So you look at the thoughts.
Well, there's a break. You said there's a break.
How do you become aware of the thought?
Break in the flow of energy.
Yes, flow of this. I'm looking at something. It is the awareness, they call it. The external awareness is disturbed by these thoughts. Or the internal awareness when I am lying there, you see, it is also disturbed by these thoughts. When the thoughts come, they bring this, the chap also along. Comes along. He is there all the time. All the time to come and help you. And help himself in this process. So you look at it and sometimes you smile. And then when you smile at these things, you see, you tell yourself, all this is the mind. You smile at that. And then who is it that is smiling? The same chap who is smiling is the old game. You see, you laugh at it and then it's gone. The mind the thinker realizes, you see, he can't play the game. This way he can't play the game, and so he retires into the background. Again, you are back in your whatever your awareness is aware of at that particular moment, but in a different way. This break doesn't say, no, I was looking at that, so I must look at this, is not there. So I'm looking at you, and so this is all the thing I can do. Now the mind is in operation. When I'm talking, it is not just, we remember we were discussing the other day.
Yes,
See, it is not just the vocal cords. The vocal cords are being used by the...
Oh, now you discovered that.
Now I have discovered that. When I suddenly stop, finished. It's a complete full stop, like a faucet.
Yeah.
The moment I close my mouth, the whole thing relating to these vocal cords and the person behind who is arguing, who is explaining, who is trying to put across something, he disappears just like that. Just like that, without leaving anything behind. So you don't think of this anymore, and then that's all. So it doesn't seem to be three levels of consciousness. So it may sound contradictory to what I thought and what I said yesterday. Tomorrow perhaps it will. But there is no contradiction at all because it's a new discovery. What is yesterday is finished. Today, perhaps tomorrow, I will discover something else. The one thing is there is an awareness, both internal and external. That is all. This is perhaps the consciousness, the pure consciousness, or whatever you call it, by whatever name you like. And this is aware of the things around and what is going on inside. There is nobody else. And that makes it easy for the human body to function in a tremendously sensitive way. There is no interference, no dictation by the previous director of this machinery. That directing machinery is destroyed, but it is still there in a different way. The mechanics, the instruments are there. These broken instruments, if you want to put them together for a convenience, if you use it and then like a bridge across the river, you use it and cross it over and discard it and finish. Temporarily you put up some structure just to cross the river and throw it away, finish. Because you don't want to keep it for an emergency next time. Next, when the situation arises, perhaps you will find out some other set of tools and put up a bridge and cross over. In that way it is available. Only the dismantled structure, destroyed and put there, you see, all in a jumble, and whatever you want, it comes. But then who wants and how this is if I don't want to talk, it's finished. I go to sleep and that's the end of it.
So the question then of whether or not there's incarnation for you would never occur to you.
Reincarnation?
Yes, the question is whether or not, what happens to you when what happens when the physical body actually dies? That question would never occur to you.
I would never put that question to myself.
No.
I would never put that question to myself because that is a question asked by one who does not know what death is, not as a knowledge. After that, isn't it? After the death, that is the natural question. Since I have already experienced this death, dying, to everything that I have at this particular moment, what I am experiencing, what I am feeling, what I am looking at it, next moment, since this is not carried over to the next moment, where is this problem for me is to think of what is going to happen after death. Is one of these, just like last night, I will perhaps be off and will never get up again. You see, one of these days I'll just go out of this awareness and that's the end. Perhaps. But why would I be interested in what is there after this? Not my question. If you ask a question like that, and I don't see even any point in discussing these or throwing abstractions at you. I don't know. I don't get it. As we tried it, it ends up in a Krishnamurtian the dialogue way. This is meaningless to me. I listened to this, what we discussed a few minutes ago. We'll get into this trap of throwing the abstractions at the person who is questioning you. To me, silence seems to be the only answer, the only avenue open to me. I don't think I will even talk to people or discuss these things. So what is the point? Or I will have to struggle and evolve a technique, some kind of a technique of a series of abstractions and throw at these people, which Krishnamurti is doing and which all the other saints did before. They used a different terminology and he is using a different terminology, the idiom of the day, the psychological, mystical, all kinds of things. That seems to be, he wants to help people because people go to him with their problems. Now that is not my problem. If somebody with an actual problem comes to me, what I would do, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I would say, I'm sorry, I'm not helpless. If you want your idea of peace, all right, let us both sit here. You see, I seem to be in a state of what you call it is not exactly your idea of peace, but there is some kind of a peace. If you quiet down for a few minutes and sit there, maybe you will have your own idea of peace for a few seconds, and you solve your problem yourself, or go to the wayside chapel there. He is haranguing all the time. What to do? He is ready there to help you, or perhaps go to and listen to somebody. That is my present. I don't think I will talk. I will just sit under some banyan tree or somewhere for my Immediate feeling is that I must give 1 year, not just to rush into anything, or I wanted to go back to India and take a regular yoga lessons regimen, intense. I thought the body, although I felt I maintained it in a perfect state, this has received big jolts after this. But even that is, I don't feel like rushing anywhere. Just do 1 year and see what happens. And be quiet in some place, in a warm place. I don't know yet where. That seemed to be my present feeling at the moment. And just give it. Well, something happened. You didn't ask for it. You didn't even know whether you would ever have this. Somehow this happened, and see how it runs. How it runs. And if nothing happens, nothing happens. What is there? This is not a spiritual illumination. This is not enlightenment. This is not any of those things which I thought or which people think. Or there is no point in comparing this with that man or this man or the other man, or trying to find out this, compare this state with what is said in the scriptures. All this seems to be, but curiosity is there. Sometimes what is this? The wonder. Now I'm beginning to feel that this very wondering is bringing this child back into the arena.
Bring the mind back in.
Yes, back into the arena, and he loves to do that. He is very fond of helping you out. He's a wonderful do-gooder. He wants to help you with ideas. He wants to help you with images. He wants to help you with all kinds of things. So the more I do this kind of a thing, the more this fellow he wants it. He loves to do that kind of a business. He wants to somehow get into his own.
He loves to hold dialogue.
Hold dialogue within myself or with others. So what is the point in doing that, questioning this also is ceasing to be of any meaning to me. That seems to be the present state of my being. I don't know what to say in this.
Since we talked last, no idea has occurred to you as how you can put a questioner into that state, so that
I don't put any question except this wonder. As I told you, I wonder why is it so? What could be this state? What is this that is happening to me? These are the only questions which I am putting to myself, and which I am beginning to feel that these questions are really useless. Whatever it is, it is. Why try to categorize this or put it into some framework and try to understand what actually, in terms of what somebody else has said? This is a meaningless thing which seems to be giving life to these thoughts. Not that I'm afraid of, there is no fear also, or what is the fear? Fear of losing this. What is it that I have? I don't know yet. Why be afraid of losing what I have? The questioning must go. Even these small, however trivial they look, this questioning seems to be absolutely meaningless to me. I have stopped questioning about these things, trying to recollect the names of things, the names of persons, the names of objects around me. Just that's a bottle, it is a thing for me there. That's all.
And when people would ask you now, how may I have a taste of this commission, you still have the same answer. There's no answer. The only answer would be if I could put you into that situation. That was your feeling.
I don't think that was my question. I don't even ask that question myself.
That was your answer before.
That was my answer before. That doesn't seem to be... because when you ask me a question, there is no reaction inside me, except I repeat that question inside. The words I repeat. And yet no answer suggests. No answer comes out within me. How can I give any answer to somebody else? Not even the desire to put you into that state of being. What is this being? Now I'm beginning to feel that this is the only, not in contradistinction with some other state I knew before. This seems to be quite a natural way. How it is operating in you, I don't know now. I don't know now. You are asking a question. I am listening to the question. There is no answer inside me. There is no feeling of superiority or anything. Why does he put this question? Also is not there. It is just a question which I repeat myself. If somebody asks me the question again and again, I really don't have any answer. Krishnamurti used to ask this, if somebody comes to you with a problem, what would you do? You have to give some answer. You have no way of giving any answer. All your information is of no avail. So this trick of that man puts you into that state of not knowing, that is his idea. His idea is somehow, by some means, through some abstraction, take all these, is on a journey to a point where they put themselves in, not they put themselves, this state of quietness comes into being. And very often the mind becomes quiet as a result of this process. And if something happens, he will be delighted. If nothing happens, he goes on. He goes on and on and on. Is it because he has a tremendous compassion, or what is compassion? I don't know. What are all these words? Compassion, the love of the world, the desire to save humanity, all these phrases which were repeated before. Those words are just words. And if really somebody comes, I feel this is just like another feeling. That's all. The tragedy he narrates to me, and there is no reaction except there is a feeling. That feeling, what it is, I don't know. You can say that it is a feeling of compassion. When there is a compassion, is there any action? Can I do something? When I have no way of helping him out, then what to do? These are all hypothetical situations. These are the very nature of these questions are very hypothetical to me. Today, perhaps, as I see, I don't think I will handle this kind of questions in the foreseeable future. And the only feeling I have is to shut up. You are not interested. How long are you going to be interested in describing what I am, how I feel, how I think? These people have no value at all. You will not be interested. You will be bored. After listening to the descriptions of this kind 2-3 times, you are not interested. I mean, not you. People are not interested in listening to how you look at things. How I look at things, I can't communicate it to you. You are always talking in terms of intensity and with a great feeling, becoming one with that, looking at the tree and to be one with the tree. These are all meaningless. You know that he doesn't know what he's talking. Not that it's an idea. That this is not the way I am looking at things. This is not the way I am feeling about things. This is not what he means when he says that he is feeling. There is a movement inside him. This is the mind. This is the mind that is creating all these feelings, all these intensification of feeling and emotion. There is no emotion. When there is no emotion, the feeling is not the resultant of any emotion. It is just a feeling. It is not in any way related to emotion. Not in any way related to emotion at all. If it is a tragedy that a particular individual is telling me, it is just like any other beautiful, marvelous story, you listen. There is a feeling, whether you listen to a success story or the story of a failure, you are listening in exactly the same way. Both of them are producing the same feeling in you, not any different. The failure story or the success story, two individuals are telling me two stories. Since there is no reaction, since I do not know what a success is, what a failure is, all the story that is when I read a success story biography or a failure, they produce two feelings in me which are the same. No sympathy, you call it sympathy. When you listen to a story of a tragedy or a failure, you say that there is a sympathetic reaction. But this reaction I don't know what it is, and I would never call it a reaction of sympathy. To a success story I also listen, that also is producing in me a feeling, which is neither envy nor joy. Perhaps it is he has succeeded, I have not succeeded, there is a feeling of envy, which is not there in me. This is just a feeling exactly similar to the feeling that this tragic story produced in me.
Strange, that's the man I can't understand wrong.
So all these are feelings are exactly the same. So what can you do for the world? You can't do anything, you just listen, and that is understanding, as he says. When you say there is an understanding, this person is irritating to me this morning. He always talks of every morning whether we should eat oatmeal or bread. When my problem is anything is the same. So 4 weeks ago I would have hit the ceiling. or I would have said something. But that is producing some feeling in me, which is not reaction, which is understanding. You can say you have understood, not because you say the mind thinks that that is the way this woman is, her behavior patterns are that way, that is the way she talks, that's the way she does things, that is the way. You have to understand her because you see she is helping you so much. She's sleeping there just outside my room on the floor to watch over me. So you must be very sympathetic. You must understand her. All these are not there. That so-called is, I would have classified that, categorized that reaction as a reaction irritation. Now it is not irritation. It seems to be some other kind of not even understanding. You understand and here, maybe it is, you see, the blood rushes or what it is, I really don't know. I haven't been able to locate the center where this feeling is originating. All our feelings, how do you know that it is a feeling? Because this feeling produces a movement in you, you see. And sometimes the energy, that gives you energy to do something, immediate action there is. Whatever you do, it's not that I would hit her, but if I hit, by some impulse, if that hitting takes place, there is no regret at all. Not this such an individual would never hit. Would never hit because there is a feeling which is perhaps understanding, you can say, which is not in any way different from other feelings.
So feeling is not emotion.
It is not emotion. It is not a thought. It is not a thought, not as a result of thinking that this has come into. I should be very thankful to her, nice to her, because she is doing all this. She is running down to get me a very warm bread every morning from the bakery. It's not a question of thankfulness, it's not a question of appreciation, it is not a question of understanding, it is not a question of any one of these things, but that's
I don't do that.
You are reacting.
I would just the feeling, but I don't do it.
But it is producing a feeling, and that is just like any other feeling.
That's strange.
It's very strange.
The emotion is not feeling.
Emotion is not.
Emotion and feeling are the same thing.
That is what perhaps he means when he says you don't have feelings, sir. Don't you feel for this? We always think that the feeling of the heart and separate the emotion from the intellect. We are either this far too much on the intellectual side and far too less on the emotional side, and balancing these two things, one is preferable to the other. All these are not there. There is just, it is not a reaction, it is a response. That response is in the, I don't know if it is the right word, that response is a feeling, which is not different from any other feeling, which is exactly the same. Why talk of the sex? Because sex is one of the most powerful drives inside. When the sex glands function, you know, when the sex glands, there is a cycle. When the sex glands function, they produce tremendous movement inside. And that movement is not, there is no question of doing something about it. No release that way. It produces a feeling inside you, which is exactly like any other feeling. So all of them are exactly the same. All responses are feelings, and all feelings are the same, whether it is a flower or a tree or a human being or a lame person or when you listen to a tragic story or a success story. This response is only one of great feeling, and that feeling produces in you a movement, and that movement gives you tremendous energy. If there is something to be done, there is an immediate action. There is no consideration whether this is right or wrong, this is moral or immoral. Whatever perhaps that particular moment demands, there is an immediate, this feeling produces the immediate activity. It becomes easy only when one lives through many of these abstractions which we have for years and years absorbed them and thought about them and tried to do something and project them. The mind has done all these things. I have never understood the feeling in the way in which it is operating in my being. Never could I conceive or imagine when that man talked of, don't you have feelings, don't you feel it, sir? The feeling is gone. This is exactly what he means, not to feel sympathy, then you rush and do something. If there is a starving man, if you have something, you give. If you don't give, what is there? What can you do? If I see a starving person, these are all hypothetical situations. Do you do something about, is it not in the human? Is a human being, you are a good person, you have flowered into something. Should you not do something there? These questions are not there. There is a tremendous feeling towards that man at that particular moment. If you have the shirt, if you sell it and feed him there at that particular moment, without all, if at all there is any response like that, you see? And otherwise, the problem of hunger, what is the urgency that I am feeling now? I felt more urgency then, more responsible then, more guilty then. I have neither the guilt nor the responsibility nor the urgency to solve the problem of hunger or to solve the problem of war. Hunger, war, these are all words. Don't you read the papers? Even if you read the papers, they are all just words, they make statements and you forget the moment it's finished because it's not producing any reaction, whether it is a Herald Tribune. I used to think, I used to kid myself whenever I read the Time magazine. I have always read Time magazine for over 35 years. This putting all systems on the same level, it's a trick of the mind. Whether it is a democracy or communism or the American way of life or the communist way of life, there is no question of balancing them at all now. That was a trick that the mind adopted, balancing them. But since there is nobody who is evaluating anything, it's not that you place Johnson and the monster, some other dictator on the same level, you are not doing anything. That is, Mao Zedong is there, this is Johnson is there. He is making these statements, he is making those statements. You just listen and forget it. If you read and forget it. At that moment you know what is happening in the world, next moment it's gone. So there is no reaction there. There is a feeling. You read the news of 150 Americans killed, 250, they are producing the same feeling in you, which is neither in sympathy of America nor in sympathy of the Viet Cong. It is both, the figures produce a feeling in me. Equal feeling.
Reading produces the feeling.
Feeling, because the news that 150 Americans have been killed and 250 Viet Cong killed, you read one in one column, the other in another column, both of them are producing the same feeling, which is neither this nor the other. Naturally, when you hear that somebody is dead, it produces a feeling, not sympathy, it's very difficult to break it. All feelings are the same. You are full of feelings, and that feeling produces the moment in you. That's the moment of the life. That is the moment of life. So there seems to be nothing else there except not the unity of life. For how many years we talk and discuss this subject, and to become one with the life in all these the objects, the stones, the animals, the flowers, everything is the same. The Bhagavad Gita quotes, gives hundreds and hundreds of verses. That's meaningless. You can never become one with anything. The mind can try to become one with anything. When the mind is not there, the life moment is there. Now this is perhaps what they meant. Life is a moment when why do they speculate if it has any direction? I have no reason to speculate, to think of the direction anymore. So it produces a feeling. That is all there is to it. When you don't look at anything, when you don't read anything, when you don't listen to anything, you are aware of what is going on inside this whole microcosm, macrocosm business. I don't want to use the word. The whole universe is there inside for you to look for days and years and years. You can not forget the whole thing. If you live there, the hunger is there, you eat some food, and the rest of the time you can live there listening to your loved up. Is this all the spiritual quest, man? Through centuries, sometimes my mind puts this question. Is all this the result of centuries of human quest for religious experience, imagining the nirvana, the state of samadhi, or whatever you call it? And it puts you in this state of the animal responses without the animalistic tendencies anymore. It is not an instinctual wisdom. There is no wisdom at all. The human body functioning in a tremendously sensitive way. That's all there is to it. And that makes all the difference. That makes life a religious life. We have got to use the word religious if you want to You can, well, who is a religious man? According to the definitions we have, you see, he does this, he does not do that. Similarly, you don't do this, you always do what is true of a religious man, without any practice. Then you can say it is a religious mind. But to call it a religious mind is a meaningless thing. You can call it by whatever name you like. It doesn't make any difference.
One would, it's a question that it's fine, but one would never imagine that.
When you discover it for yourself, it would perhaps be different. It would be totally different. What shockingly surprised me was this: there is no mystical content there. Actually, there is no mystical content. I imagined, based on these abstractions. Actually, there is no, he hinted several times, it's not a mystical thing, it is not a religious thing, it is none of those things, he would hint several times during the course of the talk. He just drops hints. But he doesn't say actually what it is. He says it is in the structure of your physical being. What value has it? What it has no value is to one who listens. Exactly the same. Except you listen to the descriptions for a while and you get bored. So where am I?
And how about the vastness of the universe and so on?
Where is the vastness of the universe? What all your eyes can see is all that there is for you to see. Beyond that, there is no universe. All our theories of universe, the cosmos, the cosmic business is not there. What I see. That is all there is to it. Beyond that, there is nothing.
For you, there's nothing.
Nothing. What the eyes can't see, there is nothing to see. It may exist, I don't know. If it exists, so what? The mind can speculate, imagine. It has all this, the information collected from various sources. Others have seen far beyond that hill. There is something of marvelous, a hill there which you must go, and all these are a word. Where should I go? This is all I know. If it is a much more marvelous piece outside there, I'm not interested. This is the only thing that I'm interested in now.
Well, do you think that's the operation of frontiers of the mind? That the mind, for example, at nighttime looks at the stars and doesn't go beyond that which it sees at all.
Yes.
Even though there are tremendous things that the telescope picks out,
yes.
Eyes don't pick out.
Eyes don't pick up what?
Well, do you think that inability to travel beyond just what the eyes see could be classified as one of the frontier?
No, the mind places. It's the mind that goes beyond this frontier that the eyes can see. Beyond that is, there may not be anything, there may be something. How would I know?
And there's no mind to go beyond.
There's no mind to go beyond this. The horizon, my eyes can go and see, that's all. Beyond that, what there is, I'm not interested. There may be or there may not be. What I am at this particular moment interested in is the view there, just outside of your window. That's all there is. That is all the universe. There's nothing else.
That's one of the most surprising things about this whole thing,
There's nothing else.
That's really incomprehensible.
Since you will never question how this universe came into being, what is going to happen to this universe. But what is this universe you are talking of? Well, what is that? Tell me. The dictionary, if you give me the dictionary, I find out what it means. The descriptions, I read the descriptions in the book and I forget it. The moment I read it, perhaps it is so. I don't see beyond this. What all I see of this universe you are talking of is what my eye is able to see just outside of my window. Nothing else is there. Nothing else is there. Who has created this? Why it has come into being? How it has come into being? There is a marvelous thing that has already put you in that state of creation. This has already put you in that state of creation. It's the same principle that has brought the universe into being. You already know, not that I say and assert. That is why perhaps you don't put this question. The mind is interested in speculating and gets in. This itself has put what the whole universe, if it were possible for the eye to see the whole universe, what that view would give, if it were possible for your eyes to see the whole universe, not the particular frontier that the eyes can go. If it were possible for you to see the whole universe, this particular small tiny bit has put you into that state already. So you are not looking anything beyond this, what you see. This small, tiny, particular flower can put you in the same state that which has created this flower. Yes. You are not concerned about God, who has created this, the ontological, the teleological, the cosmological, the proofs of the existence of God and how the universe came into being, how it is going to end up, what will happen. Where the time for this, is only looking at it, it's marvelously in contact with that very process that's going on in this universe. That is the reason why it is producing this tremendous, in that way you can explain in religious terms. I think it has always been, in the case of everybody, this is a physical change. When this takes place in the structure of the physical being, the mind that is there is trying, just as I wondered, why is it so? In a culture, religious culture, they always interpreted in terms of the religious concepts. Although they talked of God, they gave a new and fresh and vivid and vital touch to the same thing. That's how all these people, one after the other, the great teachers who have hit upon this, may have done that. Similarly, Krishnaji also is throwing all these abstractions just to help the individual to put themselves into that state, that's all. That is the purpose. It's some kind of a trickery, not exactly a trickster playing tricks with the people. This perhaps he has discovered, perhaps he has put several people into this state of being, we don't know. Maybe several people have been helped by this way. That's why he goes on and on and on. Even if it doesn't, even if he is not interested in any results, because there is no organization, no followers, nothing. If somebody is out of this, he will perhaps be delighted, or he will listen to exactly the same thing. It would perhaps produce any reaction on him. The response will be one of feeling. He will perhaps use a word. He's a lucky chap. He's out of this one. Another flower. Not that he would say.
Because everything that you read, even though you don't have a very high opinion of mysticism as such, yet the people who seem to stumble on this, at least you assume they have, they all talk of these tremendous experiences, unlimited experiences, and so on and so on. But in actual fact, there's nothing like that at all.
No, the mind can create. The mind can create a universe of its own. Universe of its own. It's not an ordinary thing. For centuries, this has been going on. It is the same, the mind that has created all these rockets that is trying to go on to the moon. It's the same mind that has created all these structures of thinking or speculation, sitting here. The Hindus talk of the 4 stages. If a Hindu were to listen, this chap is still is on the 3rd rung, there is still one, the 4th rung, the river has entered, not yet entered the ocean. And so all kinds of things. And that is only for is an extraordinary gods themselves, avatars. These are all small things. They will explain. And what value has it to me? I am not even concerned of any degrees at all. I don't even know what you are talking.
But you see, like you said, when you look at, or when you see one little part of this universe, then that reflects feeling in you, or that feeling arises in you, and then you partake of, or you cognize, or something or other, of the very thing that produced that flower. So there is a creative process working in the flower. Like that which created the whole universe is obviously also creating that flower. It's the same thing. That's obvious. And now that flower, the movement of that flower, is now the same movement that is in you. Well, therefore, that movement that is in you is a creative movement, at least logically. So therefore, when you feel that movement, you're in exactly the same creative state that the state of creation that is creating the universe and creating the flower. And therefore, you yourself would be created and creating. But the way you describe the situation is you're still, in a way, discovering, not creating.
You have talked about all that.
Yes, yes.
It is the mind that has acquired all this information. I was just listening to the words. I'm looking at you. You are the only universe that I have for me at this particular moment. That is all there is to me. I don't know what you mean by creative.
Well, for example, we said that if the eyes didn't have their frontiers, and one could see this whole tremendous, marvelous universe which the telescope pick up and so forth and so on,
Yes.
then in what way will it be different than just looking at a flower? Because the flower is, in the flower is the same creative power, or the same creation. The same thing is at work in the flower that creates this universe that you see.
Yes.
And therefore, in the flower, there's everything that could possibly be seen in the universe.
Yes.
Because there's the essence of creation.
Yes, that's what
you said.
That's what I have said.
That's what you said, right? But then you said that this movement in the flower, which is the movement of the universe in creation, has to be the key.
Yes.
That movement in the flower, then there's a corresponding movement in you.
Yes.
And therefore, that movement in you must also be the creation, the universe in creation, or life in creation.
All right, then what?
Well, but the universe in creation in that flower creates the flower, but your state seems to be just one of observing, not one of creating.
How does the flower create it?
No,
Another flower.
But the principle, they are invested, yes. But the principle of creation that creates the flower would also be in you, because that flower is...
And that is to create another person like me.
Yes.
That's all. I mean, not the physical.
No.
This is not my own child, another individual. That is perhaps the creative process you are talking about.
Yes.
And if it is not there, you see, you place me on a lower. Since the creation is not there, the same creativity is not in operation. The same creativity is inside me too. I must produce one like me.
I don't know. But I wondered if you had any intimations as to what would be the situation there, because at the moment you're in the position of learning and observing.
Yes.
And
that itself has brought into being this creative feeling. This feeling is the creation of that observing and learning.
the feeling is the creation of Zerah, yes.
That is the moment that has come into being.
Yeah.
The moment of the life there, he has produced in me the same similar movement.
Yes.
Not the mind that has created this feeling of movement.
No.
So it is, to put it in mystical terms, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Since I do not want to use any mystical terms, I'm saying that there is a feeling which perhaps is a result of that or the other or something else. Since they are all the same, every time, every feeling is a creative feeling. Otherwise, this feeling would be one of emotion. Since there is no content of emotion or thought in this feeling, it is a pure and simple creative feeling. And how does it, you are thinking in terms of results already.
Yes, that's right.
It is doing something with this creativity. There is no end product involved in this. That's exactly what I am saying. There is no end product involved in this. Perhaps when I am confronted with a tragic story of some individual, maybe I will find out, I have to discover some way at that particular moment to help him out of the situation. Since I do not know, since I can't use any other technique developed by anybody else, if I use the technique of Krishnamurti or the technique of the Hindu philosophers or the technique of some other Maharishi, only the mind can do that. I can copy it, repeat it, and modify it and adopt it into various situations. But the present structure of my being, it is impossible to do that. It is impossible. Then it will be something thinking about the thought, the memory carrying over. Somebody else's technique. It's impossible for me to use somebody else's technique. So perhaps by my own silence, this creative silence inside, it would produce, it would create, it would do something. Or perhaps, I don't know, that is, the silence has a creative power about it, without saying anything. Just to be in this state of tremendous, not knowing, I don't have an answer for that, to help you out, to solve your problem. When I don't know, this is already, there is some kind of a feeling inside, and that feeling perhaps would help. You see, the vibrations or the energy will touch him. I don't know.
Feeling the flower.
The feeling the flower touches me, and perhaps I will touch this individual, provided he is in that state. If he is thinking of something, if he is discussing, if he is arguing, if he is throwing abstractions of somebody else at me, nothing is happening. If he is also in a mood of receiving this, perhaps. Last night I was telling her, be quiet, perhaps this will affect you. I was telling her, I felt so strong. Be quiet for a while, and perhaps you will also feel peaceful. I told her, why I said that I don't know, not that I wanted to help her. She's thinking of what to do, how to pack things, what to leave and what not to leave here. Don't take it as a personal.
It is not the same woman.
Some other moment, what?
In the morning I wanted to know what the way is like.
I will give you an example.
It was absolutely different. We spoke about two states and now you see it. No, it's too stupid. No, they've done it before, yes we did.
What makes sense to you?
It makes sense to me.
No, I see what you mean there, though. And I think illustration is
Whatever you are.
illustrations you gave, too.
Illustrations is no individual is. As an example, yesterday I talked to you about this.
Well, of course, Krishnamurti.
Because I see you in my presence, so I have to give you this example.
So I can see that how creativity could work there.
It could perhaps.
That's what they cannot treat. It's something that they have read immediately when it started. There is some moment where they have taken off it, and there's nothing except to be in the room. You can see it also outside. And in the beginning, when it was the window for everybody, with a few very good friends by the time, young chaps. And the second day that he spoke like that, one of these boys told me, in spite of what is bewildering, it is such a peace. It's just forget.
Oh, maybe he was projecting his own. Most of us project our own. I never felt this kind of peace in the presence of any holy man, including Krishnamurti. I never felt that. This energy which everybody says that he has this tremendous energy, his very magic touch, because I had a barrier, I felt it's some kind of a barrier against all these people. No matter how the devotees describe, Maharishi also, in India, I think I described that also in that book. I never felt these things. Most of it I think we project. The mind is a trickster. The mind feels the peace. I really don't know. I don't know. Suddenly yesterday I burst out. Let us be quiet for a while. And perhaps this because I was feeling that the waves were going out of me. The electrical charges, I don't call it in any mystical terms, the electrical charges going, you know these pictures in the astral, I imagine that the pictures in books on the astral body and all these things, they create this, some kind of aura-like thing walking around the body. I felt as though it was a vision or no, I don't know, some electrical charge just going out of my body and filling it, the whole bed with that. Maybe, I don't know, no, I really don't know. I really don't know. And at the same time, I feel that the other person, if he feels any such energy or any peace, it's maybe his mind, the trickery of his own mind. There may not be anything to eat. I really don't know. Without that frame of mind, one perhaps is like the faith cure. The healing helps so many people because they have a faith. I think they...
Hello? Oh, no, wait. Oh, yes, sure, she's at the doctor's now getting a new cast, and so she's going to, I don't know how long she'll be, probably not too long, but she's going to call her, and I'm going to go get her. All right. Very good. Very okay, thanks. Bye.
Next service. Go take a walk home.
Can I drive you home?
No, I don't think it's necessary. What is it here? Huh? You are tired too.
Yeah, I think I'll go home and rest.
And we can ask him to give us a lift, all of us.
Let me drive all of you folks to
And drop us in sauna.
So that's still, still spinning. So he's walking in that. Cars here. Yeah, should we do here? Cars here, just
You don't know when you will leave. Perhaps you will...
Well, I'm quite sure now because she's just going to put a walking cast on. It's not so tight as this cast. And she wants to go now to England. And in that case, we'll probably leave first thing Tuesday morning. Yes. And you're leaving tomorrow.
She's leaving tomorrow and I'm leaving on Monday.
You're leaving on Monday. David's leaving tomorrow.
She's leaving tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
I don't know when you are leaving.
Barry, when are you leaving?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Monday, Tuesday, something like that, yes.
You're going to head for England?
Okay, sure.
Well, it might take a little while for that test, huh?
Just that.
Sure. I really don't know. How long it takes my cast on? Do they have to let it set before they move? I suppose they do.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to stay there for tonight.
Oh, no, because she's just in the doctor's office.
Oh, I see.
Old paper.
No one. Is there another one about the Maharishi?
Oh, yeah. The Beatles.
Yeah, they all have mustaches now.
Yeah.
Oh, two of them. I mean.
He's in Wales somewhere.
Who is in Wales?
Maharishi Mahesh.
He's in Wales now.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in Wales. I where he is now. It says here that the Beatles are going to spend 2 months in Kashmir.
Kashmir.
At his meditation ashram. I told you about him.
Yes.
That it isn't on him.
But he has a center in London, isn't he?
Yes, there is a center in London, all right.
He doesn't live in London.
No, he doesn't. He travels.
Oh, there's a lot of traveling.
Yes, because people have put these centers together all over the world. And he has, this year, I think Bob Krishnamurti is having his camp here. Maharishi was also having a tremendous camp in Austria.
In Austria?
Yeah. With hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yes.
And so he tours Europe. I think he's been around the world now on these tours about 5 or 6 times. The paper said the other day that this is his last tour. He's finished with world travel now. Now he'll stay in India.
Oh, he will be back in India.
He's staying in India, yes.
He has centers in the United States also?
Yes, he has. Yeah.
I think he has quite a following,
tremendous following. According to what the newspaper article said, that tens of thousands of people all over. Tremendous following. See, he propagates his business very clearly. He has these academies in India every year, one in Kashmir, one in Rishikesh, one in Kashmir. And about 60 or 70 people from all over the world attend. So if you double it, then you've got about maybe 140 people. And these people, the ones who are capable at least, become teachers of this system of meditation.
Yes.
And then they go back to their own countries and introduce people to this method of meditation. So it's sort of mushrooms. This is,
Oh, excuse me.
right. That's the fellow there. Well, David, those are for you to take along.
Oh, thank you. Slow oil going on in the Middle East.
Yes, yes. See, that's the fellow there with the beard.
Yes.
Yes.
Those ones with a big grin on their face are the Beatles.
It is for the men. Technology, music.
Oh my God, the Chinese diplomats in London fighting the Bobbies with an axe.
The axes, yeah.
My God.
Where was
In London, the Chinese diplomats, they're fighting the policemen with an axe. You know what an axe is? Brutal.
Well, they all came out of the legation and charged the Bobbies. And then, of course, the next day in China, there were tremendous headlines and talks about the brutality of the police to the legation people.
it?
Yeah, reverse shot.
You all went home? I took you to the doctor.
No, he's just saying to the
Wait a minute. Did we talk about taking them someplace? Then we went out? Huh? Okay. I'm sorry.